your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
And yes, welcome to the Consumer Quarterback Show. We love to help you win in any marketplace. Got some great topics today on the program. Some awesome guests as well. Expert contributors, Dr. Harold Chinitzky going to be on the program. Talk psychology with him, the art of winning as well. Mark Haye in the house, going to help you win in your finances. 21st Century Financial Group here. Also, headlines. We've got apartment rents begin to fall, but not in Tampa. I'm going to explain that article here coming up in a moment. Also, Elon Musk is the richest person again. Talk about that and kind of have a little tangent there, too, about the cobalt mines. A lot of these companies that are making so much money, look what they're doing. There's slavery happening in Africa, cobalt mines. We're going to talk about that and more here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We got a great lineup for you here. Now, what we do, we always like to feature our real estate listings live on air. It's part of our strategy where we help sellers. So if you're thinking about selling a property, you're leaving money on the table by listing with an average realtor, doing average things, throwing it on the MLS. Pretty much, we call that a good start to a marketing plan. What we do is we get you a lot more exposure. We got a property at 12290 101st Street in Largo. This is a combined parcel. There's two parcels side by side. There's another separate address. Perfect development opportunity in Largo, 12290. This is one of our new listings, land development deal right here in beautiful Tampa Bay. It's Pinellas County, and it's right on Lake Seminole. This is a beautiful property on Lake Seminole right here in Tampa Bay. Now, this property is, it's around 10 acres total, and what you've got is 4.9, almost 5 acres of buildable land in the heart of Pinellas County. Very hard to come by. You can put... We've had a feasibility study done, which I wish more of my sellers that had vacant land, large parcels that would actually spend the money and do a feasibility study. We've done that, and we've got up to 43 townhomes can be built on this land. Call for details. Great opportunity. We got a list price somewhere around, I think it was around $4.9 million is the asking price on this property. 101st Street in Largo. Tell your developer friends, your builder friends, your entrepreneurial friends. There's 43 townhouses willing to be built or ready to be built on Lake Seminole right here in Tampa Bay, Pinellas County, Largo, Florida. And make sure you call our hotline here in Tampa Bay, 813-917-1894, or visit consumerqb.com. All right, one single family home here I wanted to get to is 3058 Mildred Drive in Palm Harbor. Mildred Drive, Palm Harbor. This is a canal home, brand new, just listed property right here in Palm Harbor, one of the beautiful little towns here in Tampa Bay. 3058 Mildred Drive, about 1,400 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. You've got a pool, you've got a boat dock, you've got bay access to the largest lake in all of Tampa Bay, and that's Lake Tarpon, Florida, right here. Beautiful single-family home, well upkept, beautiful home right here in Tampa Bay. You can see all of our real estate listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. Shout out to our veterans. We love all of our troops, our veterans, first responders, all the folks out there working hard for us. Welcome in, Mark Haye. Well, good to have you.
Thanks so much. I haven't seen you since Super Bowl. What'd you think?
Oh, yeah. It was an interesting game. It was back and forth.
Game.
Yeah.
It was a great game. I don't know if I agree with that last call at the end to kind of put the Chiefs over, if you remember. I know it's a few weeks out now, but I don't agree with that call. But the Chiefs won. They did a great job. Yeah, they hung in there, and they ended up pulling that out.
That's their new Tom Brady. That's the NFL's poster boy.
You think so?
You're going to see a lot of calls going his way. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think that right now the NFL is very fortunate to have about 15 young, talented, impressive quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. And I think that, it's not going to be Patrick Mahomes' show for the next 10 years. You got Burrows, and you got Allen, and you got all these other Hurts.
That's
and,
true.
Tua, and all these guys are really talented. So. Yeah. We'll see, but I thought it was entertaining. I think the NFL did a good job for the playoffs, and everything was entertaining.
I didn't care much for the halftime show. You had all these people in white suits again. It's like promoting this, what do you call it, like a monoculture. It's like, let's get used to the mask. Let's get used to everybody being normal or all the same.
Right.
Let's wear the uniform, guys. You're not individuals. You shouldn't have property rights. You shouldn't have. That's kind of where my mind goes when I see that stuff.
Yeah, I understand that, but it was entertaining.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Mark, I got some clips I want to play, and then let's kind of remind our audience a little bit. We've had several people call out and take you up on some advice, on financial advice, and reminder you can do that on our hotline or consumerqb.com. But Mark Mark Haye is a financial expert, been in the business for many years. Give us a quick overview of a little bit about your credentials, your background, and then I want to jump into a couple of these topics.
Yep, we do full financial planning, estate planning. We really focus on getting people into a 0% tax bracket in retirement, so that you don't have to worry about the taxes rising on you, which is the biggest cost in retirement, is really taxes. So if you take away 30% of that, your money can last a lot longer. So we really specialize in a 0% tax bracket in retirement.
Let's jump right into some of these clips I'm going to play on today's show. So this one's about inflation and also the PCE, and I'm going to have your insights on this.
A few weeks ago, we learned that inflation overall had fallen in the month of January, which obviously sounded like good news. But remember, economists were still warning that those numbers were often deceiving, and it was more important to follow other inflation gauges to get a better feel for the health of the economy. Well, on Friday, the Commerce Department released figures for last month's Personal Consumption Expenditures Price Index, and it showed a 5.4% increase compared to the same month last year. That is considerably higher than what economists had predicted, and more importantly, an increase from the month before, which gives you an idea that inflation is not on any sort of steady decline. Now, this measure, the PCE, is the Fed's go-to indicator of inflation and plays a huge role in their monetary policy. So given this data, we can really expect to see them implement even more interest rate hikes in the coming months.
So here we go. More rate hikes coming. Mark, what's your opinion?
Yeah, I think it's going to keep happening as we move forward. Unfortunately, you can't just print money with reckless abandon and not think there's going to be a situation that's going to, for every action, there's a reaction. So you're going to have something happen, and this is what's happened. So, and we talked about it. Everybody that got $600 a couple years ago during COVID, you're paying far more than that, as everybody's seeing now today with the inflation. You can't just print money. And that's the problem that we're in America. We're printing way too much money. There's no accountability. And I had read something the other day, by 2029, we're going to be printing our entire budget. There's no more, we don't have enough revenue, which means you're going to have to raise taxes, you're going to have to cut, you're going to have to cut benefits. But that's the trajectory that we're going down. Unfortunately, inflation is hitting people really hard. And right now, it's just less than 70% of people are living paycheck to paycheck because the cost of everything is just so high.
Yeah.
And then I saw, too, that we have the highest number of people behind on their car payments right now.
Right.
So just look at those two things. That's scary. The first thing that goes is going to be the car, not the home. So the first thing is going to be the car. And if you have a two-car family, okay, we're going to survive on one. Let this one go. So it's hard. But, I was going to talk to you a little bit about QLAC anyways because it has to do with inflation. And QLAC, it came out a few years ago. The IRS actually came out with it, and I actually like it. So the government actually did something that we can all say, hey, this might be a good idea.
Really?
Wow,
that's surprising.
Crazy.
So QLAC, what is QLAC?
Yeah, Qualifying Longevity Annuity Contract. And I'll refer to it as QLAC so we don't have to keep saying Qualifying Longevity Annuity Contract.
Right.
But all that means is you have to have an IRA. So if you have an IRA or a large IRA or you're retired and you're taking out required minimum distribution, which you got to start spending that at the government's discretion every year moving forward at 72 and on. And maybe you don't need all that RMD, or maybe you don't need to take as much as they're wanting you to take, or maybe you're trying to hit that 0% tax bracket and you only want to take out standard deduction of $27,700. So we don't want to go over that. So what do you do?
Per year.
Per year. So what they came up with was QLAC, because people are living too long and they're going to nursing home care and running out of money. And QLAC allows you to take $155,000 off the table. So if you have a $500,000 IRA or $1 million or whatever that be, you could take $155,000 off that table, and now it does not count for your RMDs. So it lowers what you have to take out, which lowers your taxes. Okay, maybe it keeps you in that standard deduction with you and your wife, and it pushes that money out all the way until 85. So if you said, okay, I'm going to take that money and I'm going to push it out to 85. Now, certainly you can do sooner. If you want to start the income at 75, I want to start at 80. But you can't go past 85. Okay, that's the farthest you can go out. And the reason people do it is if you had a 70-year-old retired, and right now 100 years old is the fastest growing age group, believe it or not, 100. Okay,
what is
100 years old is the fastest growing age group.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
But let's say you're retired at 70, and we have a 30-year horizon of retirement. Okay, and you said, you know what? I don't want to take all these RMDs that they're forcing me to take and pay all these taxes. I'm going to take advantage of this QLAC for myself and my wife. Each of you guys could do it, $155,000 apiece, and we're going to move this out until 85. Okay? So the first half of retirement, we're going to spend what you have. Come 85, we're going to turn on the QLACs, and that's going to be the second half of retirement. Now, once you start spending QLAC, that is a future pension, much like your Social Security comes in every single month forever and ever, or a pension. Once you trigger that income, no matter if you run out of money, you'll never run out of income, and it lasts forever.
That's
okay?
Good. That's
Absolutely.
Good stuff. I like that. And don't mistake that for him saying go out and buy a Cadillac. You don't buy a Cadillac.
You got it.
And then some of the other states too, Mark. That's great information. Remind us too about those filial laws. What is that in Pennsylvania?
So I'll tie this into Q, like you just brought it up. So filial laws, there's over 30 states that allow it, and all that means is the kids are on the hook for any parents that have assisted living, nursing home care, and have bills that have not been paid on their demise. It goes down to the kids now, and the state doesn't pick out. So if you have 3 siblings in that family, they pick out the one they think that can pay. They sue that person for $200,000, and they make you go sue the siblings. Okay.
Wow.
I think that over time it's going to be all 50 states. I don't see why it wouldn't be, because it's such a burden right now as far as the financial expense of Medicare, Medicaid, etc. So we're planning on all 50 states. Right now in Florida, it doesn't happen. Now people use QLAC to help this situation. Okay. You cannot pass Social Security and you cannot pass a pension to your kids or loved ones. Okay, so I tell people, include that into your long-term care plan. Your Social Security check at $2,500 a month, or your pension check at $2,500. That's $5,000 a month that you're going to get now that we're going to use for care, because we can't pass that. We want to pass the assets that we can, and then we're going to take QLAC, and let's say you did $155,000, age 85, it's going to pay you $60,000 a year for the rest of your life. Okay, so it's another $5,000 a month. All of a sudden now we have $10,000 a month to help pay for care without ever touching the portfolio, that we're going to now pass to the kids. So in the event that, you need more than $10,000, okay, we still have this portfolio, but you're not going to be a burden to your kids.
Right.
And you're not going to have to go out and pay a ton of money for a long-term care policy to avoid that cost that you may or may not use.
Yeah.
You may use it, you may not. But at least with QLAC, you control your money. You can have an inflation-adjusted income later, because some people will take QLAC and divide it into three QLACs. Start income at 75, start income at 80, start income at 85. So every 5 years, you're getting a new income bump to help hedge against inflation, longevity, etc. So you can stagger these things and really take advantage of giving yourself pay raises in retirement, and at the same time lowering their taxable amount every year from your IRAs.
Yeah, because that's what it's all about. We work so hard for our money. We've got to come up with a plan. And, a lot of people put time in planning their fantasy football picks or their next vacation, and they don't take these things serious. So reach out to the hotline. We'd love to put you in touch with Mark Haye, 21st Century Financial Group right here in Tampa Bay, 813-917-1894. Just call or text the hotline, 813-917-1894, and, of course, consumerqb.com. We're going to take a quick break. Coming back more with Mark Haye in the house. We're going to ask him about immigration as well. There's a lot of immigration happening that's hurting the American families, hurting the American workers. We're going to talk about wages, deflationary pressure on wages coming up, as well as apartment rents begin to fall, but not in Tampa. More with Mark Haye here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Check us out online at consumerqb.com. We'll be right back.
This is work. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. Also just joined Livian. It's an expansion arm of Keller Williams Realty, Gary Keller's personal team, basically, where we're expanding into Livian. The new company name is Livian Coastal Elite. So we're really excited about that. A lot of cool things happening around the program. We've got a couple of hot listings we like to feature on our show. 6023 Beverly Drive in Hudson, another waterfront listing from the Platinum MVP team. This one's in Pasco County. Beautiful home here, 1856 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 3 bath. Got an updated kitchen, handmade cabinetry. All of the baths are upgraded as well. You got waterfront home with a fireplace. Got a security system built in. 36 jet swim spa, oversized boat lift, just a gorgeous home right here in Hudson. Direct bay access as well out into the Gulf of Mexico. Dolphin fishing. You go out there, catch some grouper, some snook, some redfish, trout. Beautiful home right here in Tampa Bay on Beverly Drive, Hudson, Florida. One of our hot listings from the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. Now, we also have another property here at 4501 Garnett Drive in Newport Richey. Kind of a similar home. You got waterfront right here, boat dock, 2215 square feet, open, spacious floor plan, beautiful home right here in beautiful Tampa Bay. This is on Garnett Drive in Newport Richey. You got an open floor plan, fireplace in the great room, upstairs loft, golf cart friendly community. 4501 Garnett Drive, Newport Richey. You can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
This is God's country.
All right, we got our financial advisor, expert contributor Mark Haye in the house, 21st Century Financial Group. And Mark, I wanted to touch on a couple of topics. Apartment rents begin to fall, but not in Tampa. Here's another article, and then I'm going to touch on this immigration issue, and I want to get your opinion on it. But after years of rent hikes, renters are starting to get some relief. And this is, again, a lot of times we see numbers, it's national. These are going into different national numbers, but it's according to listing site apartment list, with new leases dropping an average of 3.5%. That dip is a result of renters maxing out on how much they can devote to rent and a flood of new supply hitting the market. About 500,000 new apartments are set to be completed this year, the most since 1986. Now, later in the article, it goes on to say that the average renter is now paying 20% more for a new lease before COVID. In Tucson, Arizona, Tampa, Florida, and Miami, rents are 35% higher than they were in March of 2020, despite recent declines. So in Florida, in Tampa Bay, in Miami, you're not getting that relief.
Yeah, we talked about in Florida, we're a little insulated. With we have good leaders at the top, people who want to move here, no state income tax, and I do say that Tampa Bay has been undervalued for so long that I do think that the 35% increase is a lot. Don't get me wrong, but I think that it needed to happen because Tampa Bay is a good place to live at.
We were undervalued to begin with.
100%.
Yeah.
And I think that now the values of homes and rent is actually going to where it should be for what we get in Tampa.
Yeah.
I think we actually were very lucky for, 2010 and maybe 2020 as far as cost of living here. We were very lucky to live like that with what we have.
Now, on the flip side of that, wages aren't growing. So here's another challenge. So you look at, people paying more for where they have to live, their housing expense. You got groceries through the roof now.
Gas.
Gasoline, pretty much any area you look at, medical supplies. I mean, it's all there. This is another clip from one of my podcasts I listen to, Jack Poso.
Immigration. Yes, illegal immigration needs to be stopped, and illegal immigrants should be deported. That's number one. Number two, when you look at these guest worker programs, the H-1B program, when you look at the agricultural programs, even the J-1 visa that is rife with corruption, that's the summer worker program. All of these programs, all of them, are harmful to the American worker and the American family. Why? Because they create deflationary pressure on wages.
But they love it. They like to have it because it's going to be supposed, voters for their party. It's going to be, just another way they can bring in votes. The same thing right now is going on in the Supreme Court. They are talking about giving free education and waiving, canceling debt on college student loans.
Yep, and it's unfortunate too. They talk about they do a good job of naming it. Called dreamers.
Right.
With the dreamers.
Exactly.
Why do we want to kick a dream? Nobody wants to kick a dreamer out.
Right.
But a dreamer is simply an illegal alien, a legal person kind of come here illegally. It's illegal.
Yeah.
So. It's a financial burden on the country that we can't really absorb right now. And I think I saw somewhere in New York or California, they were putting them in hotels and paying for it with taxpayers. Then they had to kick them out. And then the homeless people were all pissed off and they want to sue the government for, kicking them out on the street again. It's like, that's a lot of money. Meanwhile, we have veterans and homeless people here in America that we could put them in hotels. Why do we have to put the illegals in hotels?
Paramedics, first responders. I mean, a lot of these guys don't have, their pensions are not as guaranteed as they once thought they were.
Yeah. And I'm not being cold. Obviously, everybody wants to come to America. It is the greatest place to live on this planet, and we're fortunate to be born here.
Right.
I'm not trying to be cold. I'm just saying we don't have room for 8 billion people.
Right.
So there has to be a process.
Exactly.
And just having this open border belief here in America where Ukraine, we got to close their border. It's like, why?
We got to pay their pensions, and we can't pay ours here.
We can't pay
how about pensions going to and money going to Ohio right now, where there's this horrible incident, the southern border. Going back to that, you've got record numbers of fentanyl deaths now happening. How about paying those families here in our own country, and not playing some geopolitical war? Basically a chess match. For power.
Right.
Ukraine has been a Democrat slush fund for years and years.
Yeah, 100%. And it's sad too with that situation in Ohio. I don't understand though why is all of a sudden so many trains, derailing?
Exactly.
What is happening? That is it? Okay, so do we look back and say it's our transportation system just is bad, or is it something else? Are we under attack, or But those people in Ohio, it's really sad, and it's sad to see our leader, fly over to Ukraine when he can't just fly to Ohio and meet with these people and see what's happening.
Well, and then who said he would go, and then he went.
Right.
So Trump says, "Oh, I'll be there," and now all of a sudden they start saying, "Oh, yeah, we'll give you some money. We'll go ahead and make a showcase. We'll show up here."
Yeah, and love and hate Trump. I saw some clips of him going to McDonald's and buying everybody McDonald's and handing out bottles of water and this. Love or hate him. I mean that. He didn't have to do any of that. He's spending his own money. He's spending his own time. He's a multi-billionaire. He doesn't need to do this stuff, but he does it. And, more than I'm doing, for people up there. I mean, heck, we could send some money and some water bottles, but we're not going up there, touching down, meeting with people, buying everybody McDonald's. It's something to be said. And like you said, all of a sudden, okay, yeah, he's going to go now because Trump was there.
Yeah, the red states, that Ohio issue with the water supply and there's a lot of issue around the controlled burn. Did it really need to be in a controlled burn, or should they have put it out and stopped it? It's affecting all the red states, right on down the Mississippi River.
All the way to
which river
New
that
Orleans,
is.
all the way down.
About a minute left. Give us your final thoughts, Mark, and how can folks connect and engage and free consultations, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. It's tough times. It's always changing, taxes, inflation, but we're here to help. We have solutions for you, and there's no problems. We love everybody. We want everybody to come meet with us. It's free. You're not going to regret it. And 727-804-7220. We love what we do. We appreciate you guys and appreciate being on.
Yeah, absolutely. And your website?
xxifinancial.com.
xxifinancial.com. Of course, you can find his information on our website as well, consumerqb.com as well. Mark Haye, always great information, man. I appreciate you coming in.
Thanks so much.
Talking about that QLAC and the redistribution, some of those different required distributions and FILIA laws. I mean, that's stuff a lot of people aren't aware of, so that's good stuff.
They will be.
Yep. Coming up, Dr. Harold Chinitsky on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We're going to talk about the psychology of success. We're going to talk about artificial intelligence and other great topics here coming up on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Make sure you follow us online at Brandon Rhymes 1, Brandon Rhymes PA on Facebook, Consumer Quarterback Show page as well, and we'd love to connect with you there. We'll be right back. More on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. Please make sure to send him all of your real estate deals and subscribe to the Consumer Quarterback Show podcast on iTunes and Spotify, or check out our YouTube channel. Have a blessed day.